So by now, you know that I love JVN by Jonathan Van Ness. If you haven't tried it yet, I don't know what to tell you. The Instant Recovery Serum is just straight up magic. It is deeply moisturizing hair primer that feels unbelievably light on my hair. It smooths strands, fights frizz, and protects against heat. So yeah, it's 100% a part of my rotation. It is the rotation, honestly. Jonathan Van Ness, thank you so much for bringing it into my life. If you want to try JVN for yourself, and I cannot stress this enough, you should, head to jvnhair.com and use the code Elyse20 for 20% off the entire JVN collection. Listen, finding what works for you when you're struggling with anxiety and depression is hard, and it is a completely different journey for everyone. But if you feel like you might need some mental health support, Hers can help. At forhers.com, you can get access to healthcare providers who are available for your mental health and can prescribe trusted medication if they're right for you. And it's 100% online. To get started, go to forhers.com/Elyse. That's forhers.com/ELYSE. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Lemonada.
What was my first and last experience working in an office? Great question. I would love to tell you. There was a short stint of time when I was about 25 years old and I was going to school online, trying to figure out just kind of what I wanted to do with my life. I did what most people do in that season, and I just cast a very wide net when applying for jobs online. Almost so wide that it doesn't even exist. It's just you and the jobs. All of them. Every job. I was lucky enough to get an interview for an office job that I was well underqualified for, but I just had the right availability, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sign me up. Please pay my bills. The interview went great. I found out later they actually just offered the position to a few different people, and I was kind of the last resort. Honestly, I'd be scared if I wasn't the last resort for this job. This was an executive assistant to an HR manager of a quality of life services company. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what do they do? And to that, my answer would be yes. Yes. Literally everything. Food, concierge, catering, construction, home services, vending machine services, employee benefit services. Just a big old yes. So because I was the executive assistant to an HR manager of a global company, I was part of conversations that I had no business being even BCC'd on, let alone in the room while they are happening. And one Friday, after a very long week, all of the higher ups, like my boss and all of his colleagues, were on a group message thread discussing an issue, but the conversation moved from like serious to lighthearted, and people began talking freely as if they were just friends on a group chat. Well, for just a moment, I forgot where and who I was and who I definitely wasn't. And I decided to respond to a funny message in the group thread. My response to this clever joke was, quote, "I am deceased." Skull emoji. So apparently I believed at the time that my addition to that conversation was so necessary that I didn't even have time to run my eyeballs over it to make sure I didn't misspell anything or, I don't know, change a word completely to mean something else entirely and possibly be in trouble with HR, aka me. Who knows? I just confidently closed my laptop and left work that Friday. So Monday rolls around and I get back to the office and notice something printed out on my desk. And it looks like a screenshot, messages. What is this? Oh, okay. It's the conversation from Friday. Oh, wait. That's not what I meant. Marked by a blinding yellow highlighter is my message that reads, quote, "I am diseased." Skull face emoji. Diseased. Apparently my boss's colleagues just thought that I was taking this casual opportunity to let them know that I have a disease, one that they cannot legally follow up about, and I am forever too embarrassed to explain. I worked there 3 more days, and then I quit. And the worst part is, I think they think I quit because of my disease. Thank you. Okay, actually, can you just pretend that you're listening to a fully complete theme song here? I got really in my head, and I tried to make it perfect, and I couldn't. So this is going to be the theme song right here. Okay, welcome back to Funny Because It's True. I'm Elyse Myers. Okay, let's get all of that out of the way. Today, I am talking to Angela Kinsey and Jenna Fischer from Office Ladies. Listen, okay, these two ladies are amazing. Jenna, we're just going to go by first names here, received an Emmy for her role as Pam on The Office. She's also starred in the sitcoms You, Me, and the Apocalypse and Splitting Up Together. Currently, she writes, produces, and co-hosts the Office Ladies podcast with Angela Kinsey, our second guest. Angela won a Daytime Emmy for her portrayal of Angela Martin in the webisodes The Office, The Accountants. She can also be seen in the Netflix original movies Tall Girl and Tall Girl 2 and the Netflix series Haters Back Off. Two things that are funny because they're true. Number one, Angela is a self-diagnosed digital hoarder, which is really hard to say, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud. But I've never related more to a self-diagnosis. And number two, Jenna convinces me to do a live update from a bathroom. Stay tuned for that one. So with that, let's get into the interview. Oh my gosh, how are you guys doing today? First of all, where are you guys? Are you guys not in the office right now?
I'm in my podcasting closet.
Okay.
And I'm in a garage that has become sort of like garage / there's a guest bed / there's some random art because we had a leak in our attic. I'm in that space.
I really like it. I
Thank you.
feel like I've heard your guys' like explanations of your podcasting space for so long. So seeing it is really funny, but I thought you guys would enjoy it. I brought a plant to like warm up my podcast space. And I just feel like
Elyse, I brought my plant in. So my plant lives in my actual office, but every time I podcast, I move the plant into the closet because I just,
it feels more
homier
natural.
or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I have brought hummingbirds.
I like it. Did you bring it just for this interview or that's like all the time?
I take it off the wall. I go downstairs. I bring it into the garage. I hang it. It's a whole thing.
I'm just imagining you like carrying it just like everywhere you go. It's like you've got your purse, your liquids, and then
my
the
hummingbird
hummingbirds.
painting. Yeah.
Well, okay. Thank you so, so much. I kind of just wanted to dive in a little bit about how you guys got started, how your friendship kind of evolved. I know that you guys talk a lot about it on your own podcasts, but I kind of just wanted to know, like, how did you guys start to connect? Was it over the show? Where did that start?
It was on the pilot of The Office. We didn't know one another before we were both cast on the show. And I was very nervous. I have a lot of social anxiety, which causes me to either become very, very quiet or to overshare in weird ways.
Heard that. I'm serious. I relate to this more than I want to.
And Angela is just very friendly and outgoing, and she started talking to me right away, talking to me so much from the very moment I met her. And I found this really comforting. This was great for me because here was this person who seemed really comfortable in her own skin, who was friendly and warm, and I liked her right away. And then when I had my weird moments of oversharing, she just seemed totally charmed by them. So it was like this just way that our personalities gelled right away.
I love that. And then Angela, did you notice that you were like, this is going to be my friend? How did that happen?
You know, Jenna sat closest to me. Not that we became friends
Friend
out
by
of proximity,
association.
but she was right over there behind the little partition, and I would just pop up and start chatting with her. I had known Oscar for years, so that was instant comfort for me. We had done a sketch show together in our 20s. I mean, like we were so young, it was called Hot Towel. It was a total train wreck. But so I saw Oscar and I was like, oh my God, I have a buddy here. And then I knew Kate Flannery. So I felt very comfortable right away. And Jenna she just reminded me of someone from home, you know? Aww. And so I would just pop over to just kind of be like, hey, I'm going to check in with home. How's home doing? And she became home for me.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I saw an interview where, Angela, you talk about being like a digital hoarder, which I very much like connect with. Mm-hmm. I just cannot like get through my inbox. And if I do, what is archive? I like genuinely don't understand what archive means.
Sometimes I hit archive by accident and I'm like, where did that go? I'll never see it again, but I guess I've saved it.
Into the void.
Yeah.
Okay, pause. I just spent the majority of my life thinking that everybody got wildly overwhelmed with every single piece of information that found its way into your inbox. Like, other people don't just pretend it doesn't exist and then they just start over with a new email address. I mean, I hoard emails, text messages. My phone is a graveyard for text messages. If you have texted me, I probably haven't seen it. Actually, right now, I have 311 unread text messages. I will not be reading them. But I know that you guys like had shared a lot of back and forth like emails and stuff that you, Angela, had digitally hoarded. And is there anything when you look back with like fondness that sticks out to you from that time when you were like connecting back and forth?
One of the things I love about it is, our friendship really predates a lot of, smartphones, anything to do with a smartphone. So instead of leaving each other these long voice memos that we do now, we would write huge emails to each other. I'm talking like, sit down, get yourself a cup of tea. I'm going to write you an 8-page email about my week. And I have those. And they are such a snapshot into whatever was going on. They read hilarious. And I treasure them. So I can't delete them, Elyse. Like, I have to keep them. And every once in a while, I'll find one and I'll send it to Jenna. Like, I found one the week we went and looked at wedding dresses for Jenna. And we were very, really obsessed with this sash. Jenna, you wanted a sash. And we traded so many emails about dresses with sashes. And we took it very seriously.
Would you... I would imagine you guys would like write those when you were sitting on set. Like when you had to be pretend, like acting in the background. Would you ever do that when you were in the background of scenes?
All the time. There was one year, what year was it, Jenna? Like the third year?
Year 3, we got the IM.
Yeah,
is that what it was called? Instant message?
Instant message. And then we just started typing each other, like during scenes.
But the whole cast, I had IMs going with
everybody.
All kinds of people.
Is there anything else when you guys were chatting back and forth that you see that and you can't remember the context of it? I feel like I'd see so many things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I found an email where Jenna and I were getting ready to go to something. And I wrote to her, my whole outfit is stupid. And I was like, what is this about? Where were we going? Why did I hate my outfit so much?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like that's kind of how you guys created your book. Is that kind of how the Office BFFs came into existence?
It came out of Jenna and I deciding to clean our sheds and garages and all the places you stash things in your home.
Sure.
You all have those nooks where you stash things. And we decided to do it as a best friendship sort of partnership. And in doing that, we found all of these bins of memorabilia that we were both holding on to. And so Jenna laughs because she loves to tell this part of the story where I said, Jenna, what do we do with it? We should write a book. And Jenna said, what did you say, Jenna?
I said it, no. No.
Yeah.
And Angela said, come on.
I was like, come on, this will be great. It's going to be a gift for our children. It's like our time on The Office. We're going to treasure this. And I just wouldn't let up.
And you were like, we want to scrapbook this stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's just like
what's the big deal if we also write a book?
It's the same thing.
And then Jenna was like, I don't know if we'll have enough photos. And I was like, lady, back that up because I have so many. And between the two of us, we probably had 3,000 photos.
We did.
The publisher kept being like, can you scale back the pictures, ladies? There are so many pictures.
There's almost 300.
But I am, Jenna, and I know you are too. I am so thankful we did it. I treasure the book. I love the stories we decided to share. That was also really difficult too, because we had so much to say about our time on The Office and about our friendship that came out of it.
Yeah.
And at the core, the book is about friendship. And I'm so thankful for my friendship with Jenna. And now I'm glad I have this book that I can give my daughter and that other people who love The Office and have a BFF can enjoy it.
I think it's so special though, like because you guys were starting out in this very new big space and you got to connect with somebody on such a deep level so quickly. I feel like that rise for you guys happened so fast, and to have someone so close to you at the same time is really special. Like not a lot of people get to do that, especially people that don't bond on a cast like that. And so it feels really like a gift that you guys got to have that in each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, The Office was my very first regular role on a show, my first series regular. And then it became so popular. It wasn't an instant thing, though. I mean, we were on the verge of cancellation all the time. And for the first couple of years, we would maybe be nominated for an award, but there wasn't such a big viewership that anyone really knew who we were. We would go to these Emmys parties and, you know, we didn't have people coming up to us all the time. And so we got to be really fly on the wall at these big events. And I feel like we were fortunate enough to ease into that whole aspect of the entertainment industry. And I had Angela by my side the whole time. It was so great. And we were very similar in what we wanted to do at these kinds of events. We definitely wanted to hit the bathroom line because everyone has to go to the bathroom at some point. Hot tip. If you're ever at a Hollywood party, go to the bathroom.
This is Jenna's favorite, like, fancy party hack. Like, I can't even tell you how many times she has told total strangers, have you been to the bathroom? You should go to the bathroom.
Because of who you can run into?
Of course. I ran into Angelina Jolie. We stood in line for the bathroom together. We didn't speak, but I stood right next to her.
Right.
This is an amazing tip.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone has to pee, especially at these things where you probably, after you do the red carpet, hours have gone by. You got to hit the bathroom.
I think it's funny to imagine such ginormous celebrities just like waiting to pee.
Right?
That just feels so normal. I love it so much.
It's the great equalizer.
Okay, so fun fact, I will be going to a movie premiere tomorrow. It's my first ever like red carpet situation and I am losing my mind. I'm going with Jonas and by the time this airs, it will have already happened. But you can for sure bet every dollar that you own that I am going to be making a trip to the restroom and letting you know how it goes. Okay, I have been here for about an hour. I'm in the bathroom and I have not seen a single celebrity. Okay, I'm in the bathroom again. It's 30 minutes into the movie and I still haven't run into a celebrity in the bathroom. I spilled butter on expensive pants. So only butter, no celebrities yet. Okay, bye.
It really
I
is.
love that.
And like seeing like someone who you just think is like the fanciest of fancies struggling with their dress in the bathroom, you know, like coming out of a stall, like being like, oh, wait, I guess that strap went there. Ah, crap. I'm like trying to
Have you ever helped somebody like back with their outfit?
I feel like I held like an award for Juliana Margulies once or something.
Yes, like she probably just turned and handed it to you.
I offered.
Do you want me to carry that?
That's it.
So did you guys both get into acting it the same way? Like, or did you both have the same start when you got on The Office or no, different?
We were very different. We came at it from two totally different directions, I think. I majored in theater in school, but Angela, you majored in writing?
Yeah, I was a creative writing major.
And then did you find that those were like helpful when you went into The Office, both backgrounds, or does one seem more helpful than the other?
We had a real mix on the show. Angela also comes from an improvisation background. I didn't study improv beyond just a couple of classes that I took, like auxiliary classes once I came to Los Angeles. And also I'd never really done any sketch comedy. I really had focused on theater. And so when I came out here, I had a theater degree and I took a few improv classes on the side. And I felt like our group on The Office was a real mix of theater nerds and improv performers. And it was a great, it was a great thing.
It was. There was a little bit of a rivalry, though, because like Jenna and Rain and Brian, they love to throw out their theater degree, you know, like lingo.
What's your moment before for this scene? What's your super objective?
Wait, what are both of those things?
So in acting, before you start a scene, you should consider where were you in the moment right before this happened. So if, you know, a simple example is if in the scene you are, if in the moment before you were rushing, you were running, then obviously when this scene starts, since you didn't do that, you have to manufacture that. You need to be out of breath because, sorry, I was just, I was running from my car. So that's how you you have to come up with what happened the moment before I got here. But it could be any moment before, you know, something that will, I don't know, just endow you with an emotion or a gesture or something. So that's moment before. It just gives some specificity to the scene that wouldn't otherwise be there.
Layers. So many layers.
It's just acting school, you guys. It's just theater work. You know.
And then you would have like the improvisers and comedians who would be like, I'm just going to yes and you. Whatever happens, I'm going to go with it. If you spill your drink during the scene, that lives in the scene. That is now part of the scene.
Yeah, I mean, a spilled cup of coffee might throw a theater person who's like, they've mapped it out. They've made all their decisions. And so it was such a great thing for me to work with all of these improvisation performers because I got to see the magic of just, oh my gosh, the coffee spilled. And now someone responded to that in character in the most amazing way.
So after thinking about it for like 30 seconds, I have come to the conclusion that both of these backgrounds scare me. And I don't think that I would be able to do it. Either improv or classic like theater training, I would crumble under the pressure. I am positive of it. Some of the coolest turns on The Office were moments I feel like that weren't written in like shooting drafts, but then happened because of the chemistry of the cast. And I think that is just such a huge strength to the cast of like, if you have that chemistry, if you have the skill, then like magic can kind of happen, like both on paper and then like off of it after all the like scripted stuff has happened already. I just think that that's really cool. That's like, that just takes a lot of talent coming together in one room.
It really does. I always felt so fortunate too, because if you know who your character is, then you know exactly how they're going to respond at any time. And our writers really gave us clear characters. And that was such a gift from the writer's room that I never had a question about who Angela Martin was. And that was such an asset.
Wow. Yeah. A deep understanding of like the backstory of the character, like moments before, but their entire moments before, their whole life before.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, Angela and Jenna talk about their early days as actors. The never-ending journey to find the right hair products that work for you. It can be an emotional roller coaster. At least it was until I started using JVN by Jonathan Van Ness. JVN works for all hair types and is here to bring the hair care journey to a stunning, gorgeous finale. Don't just take my word for it. There's also science backing this brand's ingredients. JVN Hair Care is silicone-free and powered by this unique, sustainable ingredient, hemisqualane. It plays a huge part in giving your hair that healthier, frizz-free shine that we love. And for those of us with curly hair, the air dry cream is a must-have. It smells incredible, and it's helped me embrace my hair's natural texture. If you want to try JVN's air dry cream for yourself, and trust me, you definitely do, head to jvnhair.com and use the code Elyse20 for 20% off air dry cream and the entire JVN collection. That's jvnhair.com and code Elyse20. What is one of my strategies when it comes to maintaining my mental health? I'm so glad you asked. I love making daily decisions easier for myself. Truly, I could eat the same thing every single day for weeks on end. What are we having for dinner? Same thing we had for lunch. Decision made. Boom. We're used to managing and figuring things out on our own, including our own mental health. But what happens when all of our tools, whether it's yoga or doom scrolling on TikTok, just aren't enough? Hers offers access to mental health care that can support you in your day-to-day. At forhers.com, you can get access to healthcare providers who are available for your mental health and can prescribe trusted medications to treat anxiety and depression if they're right for you. And it's 100% online. If prescribed, you can get your first month of treatment for only $25 and afterwards for $85 a month or $49 a month with a 3-month subscription. To get started, go to forhers.com/Elyse. That's forhers.com/ELYSE. Look, I know that for some people, getting access to the proper mental health care can be a source of stress in and of itself. That's why Hers makes it simple. Get started today at forhers.com/Elyse. That's forhers.com/ELYSE. Offer only available if prescribed. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Did you guys ever get to a point where you were on the show or just in your careers in general where you were like, this is going great, but I don't know if I want to keep doing this, or like maybe it wasn't going great. Like, I just feel like so many actors that start out, you know, it's just not as successful like that. And I feel like there was probably moments before The Office where it wasn't successful.
Yeah, I mean, I was in LA for 8 years before I got my role as Pam on The Office, and I didn't get my first speaking role on a television show until year 5.
Oh my
I
gosh.
wasn't earning a living as an actress until year 7. So I was doing a lot of bit parts, things. I was popping up on your TV screen or a small part in a movie. I was making a living, but, no one knew who I was. And I had to struggle to get every single one of those jobs.
How do you keep going after like that many years? I like don't know that world of auditioning and trying. Like, where do you keep the momentum?
Well, I think it comes from a really deep place. Like Jenna, for me, The Office was year 9. I was in Los Angeles for 9 years. I had multiple jobs. I had little tiny parts. But I think what kept me going is I just knew I was always going to do this. I was just always going to do it. And I wasn't going to measure my success by other people because performing made me happy. So if that meant I was going to do community theater until my 70s or whatever that manifested, I was going to follow my happiness, and my happiness was performing. And so I wasn't going to measure how the world saw my success because for me, I was already winning.
I had that, but I want to say like that realization and kind of confidence, resolve to keep going. I didn't start with that. Every anniversary that passed that I was in LA and I still wasn't a working actress, I sobbed and called my mom. I did a lot of crying. I remember one day I had gone to a Pottery Barn. My friend was getting married. She was 25 maybe, and I had to get something from a registry, and I went into Pottery Barn, and I couldn't afford anything on her registry. I could get her maybe a cup, maybe a couple of glasses, and I looked around Pottery Barn, and I thought, oh my God, what am I doing with my life?
Oh, wow.
My couch came from the side of the road. Someone was throwing it away, and me and my roommate, we carried it into our apartment because it was better than the one that came with the apartment. So I was like, what am I doing here? Look at my friend. Like, she's having a life. She has a regular job with a regular paycheck. She's fallen in love. She's getting married.
Yeah.
And, I went and I made her a homemade, like, I painted her at a pottery place, a little thing that she could hang her keys on when she came home, because that's what I could do. That was my wedding gift to her.
Oh my God.
But I started off wanting to be an actress because I loved acting so much, but I also really wanted success. I wanted fame and success. And when the fame and success and that wasn't coming, I had to decide that more than that, I wanted to just perform, like Angela said, no matter what it meant. And if that meant that I was even going to move back to St. Louis and I was going to perform in community theater, but then I was going to have, I don't know what job I was going to have because I hadn't really prepared myself for any other career.
Yeah.
Then I just knew that piece of me always had to have a voice. And then, I don't know, every time I just managed to talk myself into one more day.
Is there anything you would say? Like, is there a specific phrase you kind of clung to in those moments?
Well, very early on, I got the good fortune to run into Molly Shannon. I was working as a transcriber, and I was transcribing some, press conferences that actors would do about their new TV shows. And I got to run into her at this event, and she told me, I'll never forget this encounter. She said, listen, don't give up. It was 10 years before I made it on Saturday Night Live. Nothing was happening for me, and then all of a sudden my life changed. So just don't give up because you never know. You just never know. And I would say that to myself, and my mom would say that to me. She would say, Jenna, remember what Molly told you. She said, don't give up. Don't give up. 10 years, Jenna. And so that would come in my head. I would just remind myself that how did Molly Shannon go unnoticed for 10 years? Mm-hmm. I thought, well, my goodness.
You know, my mom used to always say to me, and that, Jenna, you saying that made me remember because I've shared it with you, but Elyse, my mom would say to me all the time, and to my sisters, why not you? Why not you? You know, and like it's such a simple phrase, but I carried that with me all the time. I'd go into some big meeting. My mom, the other nugget she would tell me was when I would walk in a room to be politely bored with everybody. Be politely bored. I'm like, okay, Mom. But so those
What does that mean, politely bored?
It means you don't need them. You don't need them.
Okay.
You have your power. I'm like doing my mom's accent.
I like that. So I like that you slip into your mom's accent as soon as you start talking about it.
But those little phrases just kept me going.
Man, I have a phrase that Jonas, my husband, and I cling to, and it's honestly him just like reminding me of when things just get like a little messy, you know, just in this like world. He says like just hit singles, and I think that a lot of the time we believe that like everything that we do, especially when we start to get notoriety or whatever, like everything should be like a home run. Everything should be like the best thing you've ever done. And once you do it, the next best thing has to be like the best thing you've ever done. And I think that the idea of like hitting singles for us has really helped because everything like pushes the needle forward. And sometimes you do things like because you love it and because you feel like that's like what you're supposed to be doing, like performing for you guys. And for me, it's like storytelling and writing. And sometimes there's going to be those things that it might not translate to everybody else, or it might not open up to an opportunity. But if it was like something that you loved and it filled your soul up and it made you happy, that's like hitting singles. And you just got to keep doing that one at a time. And every once in a while you'll hit a home run and that's great. And you celebrate it. And then you go back to hitting singles and it's great.
I love that.
I'm going to use that.
I know. I'm going to keep hitting singles.
It's so comforting to know that people that are so wildly successful still have to encourage themselves and remind themselves that they just shouldn't give up. Especially Angela's like, why not me? You know, that feels so powerful. I think that it's hard to believe that you're the one that the big break is going to happen to, or you're the one that's going to be successful. But why not? Okay, time for a quick break. When we come back, we hear about how streaming gave The Office its second life after it went off the air. Cooking can be so fun, but it takes a ton of prep work. Planning, grocery shopping, measuring ingredients. That's why Every Plate just makes it easy, with dinner ready often in 30 minutes or less. And the price per meal can absolutely not be beat. Every Plate's quality ingredients come pre-portioned to help you save money and reduce food waste, you know, like that bag of spinach you throw out every single week. With recipes like charred zucchini and tomato melts with fresh mozzarella and potato wedges, or the chicken sausage and tomato soup, you too can find delicious, affordable meals to work into your dinner rotation. And I love, love, love how they give you such a variety of recipes to choose from. My problem is that I just want to choose all of them. And I love that you get everything pre-portioned so that you don't have to spend any mental energy on measuring. After a long day, I just want dinner to feel as easy as possible. Following the recipes included in my box is super easy and tastes really good. And guess what? Every Plate is 58% cheaper than your average fast casual meal. And Every Plate is 25% cheaper than grocery shopping. So not only are you saving time, you're also saving money. Get your first box for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering code FUNNY149. That's everyplate.com and code FUNNY149 to get your first box for just $1.49.
Hey friends, I'm V Spear, and much like my Under the Desk news updates on TikTok, my podcast provides a safe space for us to learn about all of the happenings of the world. On Tuesdays, I'll catch you up on what happened after a story was a trending headline. How did things turn out? And on Fridays, you're invited to hang out with me and some of the internet's most fascinating people as we explore something curious. What answers will we find? Be Interesting from Lemonada Media is available now wherever you stream your podcasts.
Did you ever imagine that it would be this big? Like, could you have ever imagined this would happen?
No, I mean, we didn't imagine we would do more than the first 6. Angela and I always laugh. We took everything when we left the first season. The nameplate off our door,
Our
business
nameplate,
cards
by
off
the way,
desk.
when she says we took our nameplate, it was a piece of paper they had laminated. But
Really?
it was Velcro.
We swiped it,
was
though.
Velcroed to our door, but guess what? We took it. Because we wanted to remember every single thing about it. We knew the show was special. We knew we had lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
We didn't know if anyone else would ever get a chance to really see it.
And then, it did slowly grow an audience, and then it was winning awards, and it was a big hit. But then after we did the finale, none of us could have imagined that it would then go on to streaming.
Forever.
And still be so in the zeitgeist even today after so many years of wrapping.
Does that feel weird or does that feel cool that you're like having your kids' friends watch this for the first time?
It's both, right, Jenna? I mean, my kids are middle school age, and you cannot go to a middle school anywhere in America and not spot a Dunder Mifflin shirt or a Schrute Farm shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of wild,
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids know me as a podcaster.
That's interesting.
They say that's my job. My mom's a podcaster.
That is so...
Yeah.
Well, it's cool because I feel like, for me at least, I would be nervous that I would always be that character. But do you feel like you have that fear going into just other roles? Because I know that you've played in so many things on, like, even while The Office was airing and you were filming. Like, have you ever struggled with that fear of just being these characters?
I don't.
Good.
I know that's a thing. I know that actors say, oh, I don't want to get pigeonholed or typecast because I played this one role that's so memorable or that everyone knows. But I just feel so honored to have been Pam. And my goal when I came out to LA was that I wanted to play a memorable character in a long-lasting hit comedy show. So, I mean, how can I be mad at meeting my goal?
Yeah.
That is exactly right. Every once in a while, on social media, there will be some snark comment that's like, if we post about the podcast, someone will be like, oh, let it go already or something like that. Sometimes I want to write back and just say, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm never going to let it go. I'm just going to rejoice in it and be thankful in it and live in that happy gratitude as long as I can.
Well, it's funny listening to your guys' podcast. Every episode that I listen to, I get so excited and then so sad because I know, like, we, as if I am like on this podcast with you, I know that you guys will have to wrap it up eventually and do something different. And I'm just like, what are we doing next? Like, I'm already trying, because I'm like, we can't leave this world, right? Like, are we doing webisodes? Like, what are we going to like consume next? So yeah, I don't think that that fear should ever get in the way of like continuing to do work around that character. Okay, so all of this prep that I've been doing for the interview with Jenna and Angela, I have been trying to figure out like what it is about The Office that makes me feel so comforted and just keeps me like binging the show from beginning to end, and I just like start over again. I don't really know what it is about the show. It just makes me feel safe. And I think that the way that it was directed and filmed and kind of staged and like blocked, because they do it in a way that feels like such real life, that really just one person is sitting with a camcorder following these real people around. And I think that it makes you feel like you're in that world. Outside of The Office, has there ever been a role that you're like, oh man, this was one of my favorites?
You know what? I did this show with Colleen Ballinger called Haters Back Off, and it had Steve Little and Francesca Reale, and the cast was so strong. And I played this character, Bethany, and I had so much fun on that set. It felt electric, and we got to improvise, but then words were on the page, and Colleen was such a great creative partner, and she really just created this really amazing environment to just sort of push your comedy boundaries in the most fun way. And there was a scene that I had with Steve and with Francesca and Colleen around the kitchen table, And it's probably the second hardest I've ever laughed in my life, next to being on the set of The Office. And, pretty much every week I laugh that hard on the set of The Office, but I had never laughed that hard since. And we started improvising about a bag of salami. I don't know what we were doing. And it all stayed in. Colleen fought to have this whole long improv stay in.
Dude, Colleen Ballinger, I just feel like that would be a wild time. Oh, that's crazy.
One of my biggest joys is having an actor that is very good at staying in character and me throwing them an improv line that makes them break. It's one of my biggest joys.
Do you have any memories of that from The Office?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to make Brian as Kevin break all the time over in accounting. I improvised a line one time where it was at the end of the scene, and I said, and Kevin had Greek food again today. It's like why Angela was having a bad day. And
that was
Brian,
an improv line?
That was an improv line. And Brian was on camera, but he would do this thing Jen and I called it the tea kettle. Brian, everyone breaks differently. Like Mindy covered her face, right? Some people look down at the ground. John would go all noodle, like his shoulders. But Brian did the tea kettle, and it looked like this. Where he would try
because he would let air out of the side of his mouth, like
trying to release the laugh.
Yeah.
Like that.
Jenna, do you have any roles outside of The Office where you're like, this was my absolute favorite?
Yeah, I got to do this movie called Walk Hard with John C. Reilly. I played Darlene, and it was the most hilarious group of people. I laughed so hard on and off set on that movie, but I also got to do all kinds of fun things. Really, like I got to take voice lessons, and I had to learn how to horseback ride because there was 20 seconds of me riding a horse. And I had something like, I can't remember the number, but it was over 100 wardrobe changes. And
also you went through different periods of fashion.
Yes, different decades.
Yeah.
And I even had to have latex old age makeup on, which I hated. I thought, this is going to be the coolest thing. And I had to wear it for 3 days. And after about 2 hours on the first day, I shut down inside because I realized I was going to have this on. It created a kind of claustrophobia.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like I was being sort of smothered, like all the face on my skin and neck were smothering me. And I was very quiet, very depressed on those 3 days because this makeup, it just had this thing. I wasn't expecting that. I'm so proud of that movie. I'm so proud of that performance. It has endured as a cult favorite, but it was a box office bomb. And it kind of really broke my heart because when it came out and it wasn't this huge success that we all hoped that it would be, I remember thinking to myself, well, I don't know how to be better than that. I don't know how to throw myself into a role more. I don't know. I don't know what more I could do.
Yeah.
And I got really bummed out. Like, that was a hard one to get over. And one thing that is funny about that was at the premiere of that movie, I ran into Molly Shannon again. And it was exactly 10 years from the time I had met her originally. And I was able to tell her the story of how meeting her 10 years ago had kept me going. And it was really magical.
So you saw Molly Shannon. Did she remember telling you?
No. She had no memory of the interaction, but I told her the whole story. And then I grabbed a photographer and I was like, will you take our picture? Because this was before smartphones. We didn't have, I couldn't take it myself. So I called like a professional photographer over and I was like, come take our picture.
That feels so much like the universe just like, hey, because you said that the movie didn't do as well as you had expected, and then running into her at the premiere, I feel like that's like, just keep going. Don't quit. Like, that's just so poetic.
Right? Yeah, it was like the universe reminding me. You're right. I didn't even see it that way.
I'm hitting a single. Yeah. I'm hitting a single.
Yeah, that movie, I hit a single.
Yeah, hitting a single. Exactly. I just think that is so beautiful. And I just am so curious, did the performance of that movie bleed into your work outside of it? Or did it not affect the confidence?
It didn't. No, it affected, I don't know. I had to kind of like hibernate for a little bit. I had to lick my wounds, you know?
Yeah, I remember, Jenna, it wounded you, you know?
Yes.
The Office was this juggernaut. It was established. You knew you had that. But this was a creative step you took outside of that safe space. And I think you were really vulnerable about it. But it's a great movie. And, you know,
I'm so proud of it.
I know.
So that, you know, there is that piece of it. I'm able to hold both things at the same time. I'm able to be extremely proud of the film and my performance, and also be sad that it, you know, but listen, it really is a cult favorite now, especially with musicians. I don't know a lot about the music world, but I have run into humongo people in the music world who love that movie and who compliment and quote that movie to me. So that's kind of amazing.
It is interesting, Jenna. Of all the things we've worked on, two of our favorite things were not hits, because Haters Back Off was canceled after season 2. But I feel so good about the work we did. And maybe that's the real truth, right? Is that to do work that you're proud of and feel good about, and how it's received is not your business.
Oh my gosh. I could write 17 books about my feelings on that. Like, that's just something, especially for me, in the nature of what I do is so like quickly consumed, and the feedback is so immediate that it causes this feeling of like, I need to be giving people what they are responding to. And you almost lose that creative drive within yourself if you don't protect it. If you don't protect yourself from the feedback, you want it, but you also don't, right? Like, you don't want that to be driving your creative decisions. And for me, I'm constantly holding those two of like, I need to do things that fill my soul, that I love, that I'm like passionate about, that I would do for free, that I would pay to do. But then I have to do the things as well that people love of mine, and that entertain them. And how do I marry both of those?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't want to lose your voice, because as soon as you give in to what everyone else thinks, you sort of lose a little piece of yourself each time.
Yeah. Maintaining your creative integrity and all of it, and doing things you know you should do that are right, even if it doesn't really make sense, and it like ends up paying off, you know, like The Office of waiting 9 years, 7 years, like it pays off. You guys did it. And you're like walking testimonies of like, do what feels right, and it's going to kind of work. It's really cool.
I'm incredibly thankful.
I got a chance to work with Megan Mullally on a project. We did this crazy TV show called You, Me, and the Apocalypse, and it shot over in London, and we relocated there, and she and I were kind of a duo. And I remember her telling me something that really stuck with me. I asked her, like, how do you choose your projects? Yeah. Like, you've done so many things. And she said, well, there's a different reason every time. But one thing I'll tell you is every time I've taken a job just for the money, it never turns out great. She's like, there's the money jobs, and then there's the ones that really feed you. And sometimes you have to just pay the bills, you know, and you have to take that money job. But she said the ones I always end up loving, and the ones where I end up connecting with people and bonding the most, they're never the money grab. You know, it's never, they're always, I think as artists, we're always looking for that deeper artistic connection to the work, to the people, or whatever. And in this business, there are a lot of people who are just in it for the money, or who have money as like the number one thing on the priority list. Yeah. And as an artist, that, you know, that's not always compatible.
Oh man. Yes.
Yeah.
100%, 1000% yes. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I can't believe this has happened.
Elyse, before we go, I want you to know Jenna and I have absolutely just delighted in watching you and your journey and how you share, and you're doing it. You're doing it, and it's awesome, and you're hilarious, and you're smart, and you're kind, and I'm just so happy that I'm getting to know you. And this is the first time I actually get to have a full conversation and not just leaving you random messages on DM and Instagram. And you were part of our podcast. You wrote this beautiful song off of something silly I said about whispers in the break room. And you're just the real deal. And we love you, and we're so happy for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay.
I want to back that up, and I want to say something to you that my acting coach used to say to me. He used to say, the world needs you, and the world needs what you have to say. The world needs you as an artist. And that is so true with you. When I watch you and I watch your work, I think the world needs this.
Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah.
But the world needs this. And artists really do affect us and they change the world. And thank you. Thank you for doing it, because we know we're artists. We know it is not easy every day to show up and bring that vulnerability and bring your art out. And sometimes you have to hide, and that's okay too. You get to take breaks. But thanks for being a part of it.
Wow.
Thanks for doing what you do.
This is a hug. This is me hugging you. This is a hug.
Thank you, guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're doing it. We're doing it. See?
We're doing it.
Man, it was so hard to be present in this moment. I had producers on my end just messaging me saying, be here right now. Feel this. Accept it. Receive it. This is for you. Feel it and don't emotionally escape this moment. It's so hard to accept this kind of like encouragement and praise from Jenna and Angela. It's very hard to feel like I deserve it. And it was so overwhelming. I obviously cried because I cry at everything. But I was so nervous for this interview all day. I literally didn't sleep the night before. And then the interview happens and I'm finally just thinking, okay, I did it and I didn't make myself look like an asshole. And I think I'm in the clear, like genuinely, we're getting ready to log off. I did it. And then they go in with this encouragement and I just like wasn't prepared. My heart was like not there for that moment. It was like we were supposed to just be done now so I can, not melt down. And then they went into the encouragement and it was so kind and so timely and so needed. To receive that from two people that I look up to so much felt like a holy moment. I don't really know how else to explain it. It just felt precious to me. I will never forget that happened. And the fact that I have it on an audio recording forever is honestly the best gift I could have ever received. So yeah, I don't know how to end it because I feel kind of at a loss for words. So there it is. We did it. Okay. Bye. Okay, that's it for this very exciting episode. Make sure to check out the Office Ladies podcast wherever you're listening right now. Thank you so much for listening to Funny 'Cause It's True. If you do like the show, tell your friends about it, or you can give us a rating and review to help other people find the show too. I'll be back next week. See ya. If you want more Funny 'Cause It's True, just subscribe to Lemonada Premium on Apple Podcasts for some exclusive bonus content. Funny 'Cause It's True is a Lemonada Media and Powder Keg production. The show is produced by Claire Jones, Zoe Dennis, Nancy Rosenbaum, and Linnea Tony. Our associate producer is Tiffany Bowie. Rachel Neal is our senior director of new content, and our VP of weekly production is Steve Nelson. Executive producers are Stephanie Whittles-Wax, Jessica Cordova-Kramer, Paul Feig, Laura Fisher, Kesla Childers, and me, Elyse Myers. The show is mixed by Brian Castillo and Johnny Vince Evans. Additional help from Noah Smith and Ivan Karayev. Our theme song music was written by me and scored by Xander Singh.
Hey y'all, it's Savannah Chrisley, and I've got a new podcast titled Unlocked. We're creating a space for people to truly be vulnerable. You're used to seeing me having to have this picture-perfect bow on the life that I live, and frankly, that's not who I am. I'm a little wild, I'm a little crazy, and I love really, really hard. I really hope that you'll join me every Tuesday as I bring on friends, family, and some guests that I'm pretty sure you're going to recognize. Listen and follow Unlocked now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app.
Hey, Lemonada listeners, we want to hear from you. You know we love our sponsors for a ton of reasons, but one of the main ones is that they help us keep the lights on. And there's a really easy way that you can help us draw new advertisers and hear ads for things you're most interested in. filling out our quick anonymous survey at lemonadamedia.com/survey. By just answering a few questions, you can help us find new brands to connect with and also share feedback about show content you'd like to see across the network. And to sweeten the deal, once you've completed the survey, you can enter for a chance to win a $100 Visa gift card. I promise the survey is short and sweet and will help us play ads you don't want to skip and also keep bringing you content you love. Just go to lemonadamedia.com/survey. Survey. 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 Survey.